One of my favorite features to talk about whenever it comes to creating your podcast content and your content strategy is dynamic content. That's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how you can implement dynamic content even when you're not launching anything. So let's get right to it. Hey y'all, Crystal here today. And like I said, we are going to be talking all about dynamic content. Now, first and foremost, we have to answer the question, what is dynamic content? So these are audio clips that you can put at the very beginning of a podcast episode or at the very end. If you're a BUZZSPROUT user, then you have access to upload 5 minutes of dynamic content at the very beginning or at the very end of every single one of your podcast episodes. If you're curious, you're like, wait, what? What are you even talking about? Make sure you go watch this video right here where I walk you through the actual step-by-step processes of creating dynamic content and ways that you can use it in your BUZZSPROUT account. But what I really wanted to focus on today is whenever you're creating dynamic content, it doesn't just have to be for whenever you want to sell something, right? So I have a program, it's called Proffitt Podcasting. You can learn more about it here. It's how I teach entrepreneurs how to start, launch, and market their podcast. And from time to time, I will add a clip or an ad at the very beginning of all the episodes of the Proffitt Podcast. This is my show right here. You can go check it out. There's gonna be a link in the description. But what I can do is I can say, hey, if you are a certain type of person, right? If you're an entrepreneur, online business owner, and you're looking to start a podcast, I encourage you to go check out Proffitt Podcasting. Here's the link. This is why it'd be awesome for you. And okay, that's fantastic. Let's get into today's episode. That's basically in a nutshell what it would look like whenever I'm creating a dynamic piece of content. And then whenever that audio clip is created, I would upload it. I like to put a little music behind there just to kind of get the mood, get the vibe going for my podcast. So I would take that audio clip, upload it into BUZZSPROUT, and then I would follow the rest of the steps in the video that I was talking about earlier. But that's for paid stuff. Right? That's me promoting my course, or I could promote an affiliate promotion that I'm doing, or the ultimate podcast launch toolkit. This is another product that I have. And from time to time, I will absolutely promote these different things. But I get the question, how do you use this when you're not launching anything? And I'm just like, oh, it gets me so excited because even when you're not launching something, I want you using dynamic content. I want you driving traffic to your podcast Facebook group, maybe even just your Instagram. If you're like, gosh, I wish I had more Instagram followers. Well, why can't you give them a reason to come hang out with you on Instagram and say that in the dynamic content at the very beginning of an episode? So here's a perfect example of what I would say. If I wanted someone to come hang out with me on Instagram, I would say, if you're looking for some quick tips on how to get your podcast up and running, or you're just looking for a little inspiration and some ideas for how to even get started with a podcast, I encourage you to come hang out with me on my Instagram profile where I routinely share behind the scenes in my Instagram stories. I create silly reels, but I also share lots of content about podcasting. You can find me at Crystal Proffitt TX, that's my handle, and I want you to come hang out with me there. So again, I'm at Crystal Proffitt TX. Okay, let's get into today's episode. In scene, right? Let me take a bow. That's what it would sound like. So I would record that audio clip, slap some music behind it, and then upload it into my dynamic content in BUZZSPROUT. So that's really it in a nutshell. I wanted to give you a quick preview of how I use dynamic content, but of course, if you want to know how I do this in action, go listen to the Proffitt Podcast. There's going to be all kinds of links below for where you can find it. And if you have any other questions about dynamic content, put them in the comments below. I love talking about this. It's so much fun. I actually have another video right here that kind of gives you behind the scenes into a content calendar that I use, that I created using Google Sheets and Asana. And I show you how I actually go down the rows within my Google Sheets and I put information there for dynamic content. content. So if you're like, how can I work this into strategy? Go watch that video. It will be super, super helpful. But that's all I have for you today. So if you have not already, make sure you hit the thumbs up on this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe below. That way you don't miss our videos. We put out every single week all about podcasting and running your online business. Check out these other videos right here, all about podcasting and running your online business. And as always, remember, keep it up. We all have to start somewhere.